Welcome to AFL180, brought to you by Guru.com.au. This week, the heat is still on Essendon and Hurdy, which is a welcome distraction from a fairly unimpressive round. Much to look forward to this week, though, with the Adelaide Derby and the battle of the priority pick between the D's and the Jones. I'm the Betting Guru. Back with us this week is Jono. Welcome.
Thank you. Back after a week off.
What were you doing, mate? Picking out pansies?
No, actually doing preparation for my upcoming wedding.
Any advice, Betting Guru?
No. Get out while you can. 2-1 they break up within the first 3 weeks. No,
yeah, I want to take plus 21 days on
Yes. You could do a line bet on that as well.
Yes, I like that. What will be a line bet on the marriage?
Sorry, speaking is Bob, by the way.
Can we get odds on 40 plus? Do we?
Well, yeah. There's some good. Alright, anyway.
We could also do a reasons for breakup market.
Yeah, I mean, if you can have a market to bet on the name of the royal baby, you can have a market for how long a marriage will last.
Listen, they had a market on what colour the dress was going to be for the wedding, and it was, I read that list, it was all white. Every single one of those colours was white, but there was 20 combinations of what white would be, like pearl and whatever. So, like, there's no way.
But then who eventually decides
what that colour was?
The exact white.
I think they just pay everyone out. It's a novelty market. They just basically pay everyone out. All right.
Can you imagine though ringing up Sportsbet and having an argument with the customer service person?
Yes, it was white. No, it was pearl.
Over the semantics of which white it was.
Well, I think you just bet white, and whatever colour comes up, you just say, listen, that was white to me.
Also, it doesn't cater very well to colourblind people. Going, that was clearly a shade of purple.
Yes. Now, let's have a look at last week's results. An uninspiring round, I think, from my earlier comments. What do you think, boys? It started with Hawthorn spanking Essendon, which
there's a lot of build up to
been a good game.
Yeah, there was a lot of build up to that game, but Buddy came out of his shell finally and took to his bunnies.
Well, yeah, he loves playing against Essendon, but it wasn't even. I mean, except for the first quarter, it wasn't even competitive at all. It was just like under 18s playing against an AFL team. It felt like
why
I don't even know. They got slaughtered in every single ground. I don't think the result, like they lost by 60 points. Mm. The result didn't do justice to how badly Hawthorn annihilated them. Like,
yeah.
Was there an area you felt that they competed with you adequately?
Not really. I mean, look, they missed Watson in having a big body in the midfield, and look, Carlisle is showing that he can play on big, slow forwards, but athletic forwards who get in behind him, he just can't go with them. And he's been shown up by Waite earlier this year. He's been shown up by Franklin. He's teams are starting to exploit that weakness, and it's going to be interesting with Hurley out of the team this week, how Essendon go against the Pies.
Yeah. Which is probably the game of the round for next round, but
which isn't on free-to-air TV, mind you.
Really? Is that Saturday night?
No, it's on Sunday afternoon. It's the last. It's a twilight game.
I can't believe the Collingwood Essendon game
is not on free-to-air
between
television.
two pairs of drug cheats is not going to be on. According to Robinson, is not going to be on.
It's at the MCG. They want to fill it up.
Yeah. So what's the game they're showing? Or they're not showing any Sunday games?
No. The Sunday game will be.
Well, we'll get back to them.
We'll get back to you on that. But, other games didn't really live up to what we expected to be a competitive game.
The Adelaide Showdown.
Well, who's... I will say this. Between...
Gold Coast Carlton, we all thought it was going to be
It was a competitive game. It was a very competitive game. Like, up until the last quarter. They blew them away in the last quarter, but I thought they had a game... They had a chance, Gold Coast.
Well, I thought it was Carlton 1-39 was a... sure bet. There was no way they were going to win by 7 goals. Yeah. But
I think they're starting to tire. This you got to remember, this is still a third-year team. Effectively, I think they're all starting to tire.
Yeah, Melbourne got absolutely hammered by North, which everyone expected. But 4 goals for.
Yeah, North doing their typical thing,
You're not
though.
playing-
beating up on the minnows and not playing when it counts.
I said this last week that you couldn't have given me a big enough line on Melbourne, North Melbourne, and Collingwood and GWS. And clearly, I was wrong on Collingwood, GWS, and more on that later. But North, when it comes to anybody that's a crap team, just destroy them. And Brent Harvey has a field day.
And interestingly, this week, you mentioned those two games. Interestingly, this week, GWS is the favourite against Melbourne.
First time in the
And
history.
that could well be because they put up a better performance against Collingwood than Melbourne did against North.
How big of a freak is Jeremy Cameron?
Agreed. And this week, no James Frawley to play on him.
Oh,
That's right.
He is the best young forward I've seen since Carey. It's not even close. He craps on Rewalt, based on what I've seen early in their career. He is that good. He is incredible. He's got everything. He's quick. He's strong as hell. He knows where to lead to. He takes contested marks.
From a GWS recruitment perspective, if they took a Buddy Franklin, is Buddy Franklin going to affect Cameron's ability to play? And then how do you fit
I don't think he will at all.
Jonathan Patton into that team?
First of all,
they become too top heavy if they go with that?
I think one of them can. I think Patton can probably even go to centre back, or they might just trade one of them. And what are they going to do? They're going to take Boyd in the draft this year. Something has got to give.
I think
you can't have four big forwards.
Yeah, but I think 3 you can, and one of them can always go back. They can do an Essendon setup where they've got, eventually they'll have Danaher, Hurley, and Carlisle.
And Franklin roams around a lot anyway. Can pick up the ball on the wing, take a few steps, and kick it.
They're all athletic enough, yeah. They're all athletic enough. You could play them on the same side.
Yeah, so we had Melbourne getting absolutely pumped. Then you had Collingwood still managing to win by 40, and then St Kilda also got pumped
Absolutely.
by over 100 points, kicking 5 goals. They didn't even kick a goal in the second half.
No, they did. But I have to say, they weren't bad in the first half. They had a few injured guys in the second half. Freewald came off. I think we're playing with one guy on the bench in the second half. But Geelong was just Hayes and Rewalt were the ones that went down, which is all our leadership. But I will say this: Geelong just feasted on us. Even when all the players were going, it was looking like a 70 or 80 point thrashing. It's just. By the way, how good is this for a weekend? The Saints lost to Geelong by 101 points. The reserves lost to Geelong by 117 points. And then the development squad lost to Geelong by 90 points. They lost by 400.
So not only is it bad now, but there's absolutely
no hope in the future either.
Correct. I really hope we land a few guns in the draft this year. This could be a long time. But you're looking at the next Melbourne.
Oh, no.
I mean, the Adelaide Fremantle game was not too bad.
Fremantle
got
in
close,
a typical keeping
it's a typical
team to 6 or 7 goals. Yeah.
Fife had a good game. Kicked like 4 goals from midfield.
Did. Got a lot of Dream Team points as well.
Yeah.
Port did well against Brisbane.
Port beat Brisbane by the number of behinds they kicked.
That's right.
I was disappointed. that was going to be my second biggest bet for the weekend after the Bulldogs game, and they were in front going to the last quarter, weren't they? Or close enough to it. Maybe, yeah. They just got overrun in the last. It wasn't even so much that got overrun in the last quarter. I don't think anybody.
They just kicked more behind.
Yeah, anybody scored for like 15 minutes. It was a long drought.
Yeah, there was one goal kicked in that last quarter, wasn't there? By
something.
Port. Yeah.
Port was ahead in all the stats, but
And then you'd call it a surprise. Bulldogs beating West Coast.
I tipped that one, and it wasn't even close that game. They really. At some point, I was worried about my 1-39 margin on the game. They ran all over the top of them. West Coast couldn't run with them.
Dale House had his best game of his career so far, probably.
Good player too. I would love him at the Saints. He knows how to get the ball and he can get goals.
You're going to need someone to replace Sard.
Oh, that came out of nowhere.
Why is a little guy like that who's supposed to have skill?
Why is he doing this during Ramadan?
That's a whole other ethical.
I don't know if there's Ramadan's pro drugs or whatever, but I did not see that coming whatsoever. But if B samples proves negative, he's just suspended for 2 years and it's deserved.
Yeah, I'm not sure if injecting gets around the Ramadan rules, but you're not supposed to eat or drink. But during the day. Well, so at night you can do whatever you want to.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And then
the Bulldogs. It was still a surprise to me.
Yeah.
But
Look,
West Coast just keeps disappointing this year.
they've put the queue in the rack. They can't make finals.
Yeah.
They're resting players.
Yeah, nothing always out for the year for the most part. Aren't they?
Yeah, they're just no good. And but the Bulldogs are showing. Yeah, I mean you can only beat what's put in front of you, and they're showing some good signs
It's
for
not
the
about
future.
team. Not about team.
Showing some good
Liberatore
signs for the
is
future.
a good player.
Yeah.
They got some.
killing it.
Crovat is good. McRae is good. Stringer looks like he's going to be a good player. They've done very well recruiting recently.
Don't like their outs this week though.
Well, we'll have a look at that in a bit.
And Sydney Richmond.
Yeah.
Expected Richmond to probably be a little bit more competitive, but Sydney is showing that they're absolute premiership contenders for this year.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Richmond actually has to show something because
So
they're coming up against Hawthorn at the MCG.
They've got a very
on
tough
Saturday.
run coming up.
yeah, they do. So does anyone after last week's round see anybody other than Hawthorn, Geelong, or
No.
Sydney winning the premiership?
I'm still comfortably on Fremantle getting there. I really think Ross can get them over the line, but there is. I think Essendon's gone. Surely by now they're gone.
I don't think they'll be allowed to play finals. They're
Yeah.
just, from everything that's leaking, it seems that way.
Yeah.
So I think there's 4. I still think you're underestimating.
But the way they
Alright.
played this week.
Kara
against
usually
Hawthorn-
has the inside running on these things, and she hasn't set a
Correct.
punishment for Essendon yet.
Correct.
So we still don't. You know, if she doesn't know, then you
I would
wonder
love it
who
if they
does.
just got her to do a press conference once. I've spoken to the AFL. This is the punishment for the Bombers.
Yeah. The AFL just comes out saying, "Oh, sorry, it's already been covered."
What she said.
How good is it? How brilliant a decision is this now looking by Dimitri and Co to go overseas for their little junket this week?
Seriously,
Just-
honestly.
Why are they allowed to go on holidays during football season? With all due respect, you've
Yeah,
got
I know.
bloody
You've got
5
3
months
months.
in between seasons to do whatever you want. Oh, it's just absurd.
Look, in some ways, the season's running. It's taking care of itself. Games are on TV. You're not negotiating anything. You're not doing plans. It's just it's already
during
done.
the one. Oh,
Anyway, so let's.
But a week before the Bombers thing is
Yeah,
is
just-
suggested that they're going to reveal the results of the investigation. No, see you, fellas.
yeah.
Oh, they feel they deserve a holiday. They've been working pretty hard.
I think they know the results, and they just went on holidays to give themselves a bit of breathing room for the hell that's going to come down in the next couple of weeks.
That's right. Now let's have a look at the competition. It's the Betting Guru Top Punter Comp, where we're trying to see who's the best punter out there.
Between the 3 of us.
Between the 3 of us, that's right. Now I've won for the 2nd consecutive week, and I'm still behind.
You didn't win by much.
Have you got the scores there, Johnny? You did.
I did have. I've got
Oh,
here they are.
I've
Right.
got them,
So the Guru got 7 right, 7 out of 9, which is a massive result, and got a payout of 97.90. Vova only got 4 correct, but got a payout of $90.20 after picking the Bulldogs to beat West Coast, and I got 3rd. Even though I got 6 correct with a payout of $81.60. So I maintained my lead.
It's a pretty close week, and
Close week.
you're still on top with 853.
853. Guru second on 761, and Vova still bringing up the rear. Down
A
729.
position I'm exceedingly comfortable in.
All right, good stuff. So, I mean, any... the Carlton bet was an important one. So we both lost. We had Carlton 1-39. That's Jono and myself.
I went with Gold Coast and
The result was just over 40. So you were way up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another case of losing by less than a goal.
Well, I think there's been...
Kangaroo, yeah. Sorry, go.
No, go ahead, John.
No, I was going to say Kangaroos 40 plus was probably under betting.
Very safe bet.
Very safe bet, really.
So Robert did better on that one.
And I took the Hawks 1-39. Thought Essendon had put up a bit more of a fight, but Yuri, the guest presenter from last week, he said that we'd get smashed, or that they'd get smashed, and he was right.
Well, there was... I thought Collingwood was going to pummel GWS, given that they need percentage, and they got nowhere close.
No.
They were down at half time.
No.
But
So our $1.06 bet on Pies 40 plus turned out to be the right call.
yeah, which is kind of disappointing to me.
You're not even getting $1.06 when you just made it.
Yeah.
Bombers versus Hawks head to head. That was a nice, safe one.
I was disappointed, but like the Freo game, I took them minus 28.5, and I think they only won by 22 odd, which was.
Yeah.
So, Jono, you took 1 to 39. That didn't come off.
For the Hawks?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's...
You've been a bit pessimistic on your own team, with the exception of the Port game. Been a bit pessimistic on your own team.
And Volvo's been riding on the dogs the whole time because.
I've been riding West Coast and Bulldogs.
Yeah, it's a couple of times.
They've come up for me a couple of times.
That's it. We mentioned a couple of times the.
Have you actually tipped West Coast since Essendon had that win
Yes.
that cost you?
Yes, I tipped them. I took them at the line against Sydney, and that didn't work out.
And
And
that didn't work
I
out.
took them head to head against Freo, and that definitely didn't work out.
So
Although they were up,
you're off them now,
Well,
regardless of who they're playing.
not quite.
Just wanted to mention for the people that are following the Sporting Bet knockout competition, where you had to just pick one team correctly every week. There's still 70 people left in there. So I think you were saying that it would be finished by now.
I think I said I finished by round 20. No,
I thought you said round 21.
no.
Yeah,
All right,
so-
I've got
you
a
said
couple of
round
rounds to go.
21.
There's still over 70 people left.
Well, there's some. I think this week's a knockout a week.
This week will take a few.
Yeah.
It could. All right, so let's go there. Let's have a look at what's happening next week. As I said, there's the Adelaide Derby. There's Melbourne versus Greater Western Sydney to see who comes last. Well, Melbourne could still finish.
I'm telling you, I think this week gets like 65 people out of the comp.
Yeah, that Hawthorn versus Richmond one stands out to me as well. I think if Richmond,
Put up in front.
I mean, if they get smashed, it doesn't matter whether they make the finals or not. They don't deserve to be there, and they're not going to do much.
Yeah, but you gotta get that experience. You know, all these young teams get up, they get in there, they get smacked, they come back up, they get a bit better. It's
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you look at the Hawks in 2007 made the finals, and then got over Adelaide in the first week, got smacked by North in the second week. Came back the next year and won the premiership. But you got to get that. Nobody comes from outside the 8
to just win.
And wins the flag.
I mean, the year after, that year 2008, that you smacked the Saints in the prelim, and then we came back
before.
next year and almost won the granny. There's this amazing stat every year. Somebody outside the top 8 finishes in the top 4. That's been the stat every year for probably 15 years or whatever it's been.
And this year?
And I don't know if it's happened this year.
No,
Because
it's
if we have a
not
look at the top 4, this year stayed remarkably similar.
All right, so let's go through our tips from start to finish. Yeah. On Friday night, it's North Melbourne at home to Geelong, Etihad Stadium. Does anyone think North has a chance here?
I don't think North's got a chance, but they seem to like teams that let them score, that play fast football. So I'm actually taking North plus 22.5 points.
Wow, really?
Yeah, they seem to play
Even
well
without
against teams
Swallow?
that let them score, even without Swallow.
Even with Swallow going down.
Well
Sorry.
done, well done, well done.
Well done.
Yeah, I'm taking North with 22.5 point head start.
I'm going the other way. I'm going Geelong with the 22.5 start.
I've had some good luck tipping against Geelong at the line actually recently.
All right. Bartel's in, by the way. Podsy Adley's out. And a couple of big fellas back in for Geelong. Now, let's have a look. I've got Geelong 1 to 39. So I hope I'm not going to tip the same as Jono for the 5th consecutive week because I'm never going to beat him.
Well, he went for the line. So
Yeah.
if they win by 20 points, both of us come in. Jono doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next game, GWS versus Melbourne.
So actually, I just want Geelong to flog North now.
Yeah.
It could very well happen.
It could happen.
Yeah.
They won by 100 points last week.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, they played it
Slightly different competition.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. GWS at home to Melbourne. Last time GWS nearly beat Melbourne until the last quarter when Melbourne had their best quarter ever and scored, was it 12 goals? in the last quarter to win by over 40
Can Melbourne
from behind.
Can Melbourne repeat it?
No.
They were riding on a wave of emotion. I don't think it's going to be there this time.
Well, I actually was going to tip Melbourne until I saw James Frawley's out.
Frawley's out. Dawes is also out. And Blees
I'm surprised they have Amita Blees.
There was an interesting stat that came out during the week. Given that Jeremy Cameron is close to Coleman, if he wins the Coleman and GWS don't win a game, he'll be the first person to do that since about 1914 or something like that. That a team that hasn't won a game has had the Coleman medalist or the leading goal kicker.
He is an absolute freak, that boy. I'm taking GWS head to head. I was like I said, I was going to take Melbourne, but for all
the ridiculous thing about GWS though, Cameron's kicked 50. The next highest goal scorer, 12. So he hasn't had a lot of support this year.
Yeah, probably Patton was the one who did that and was gone around 4, whatever it was. John?
I am taking GWS at the line of -3.5. I figure if they're going to win, they're probably going to win by more than 3 points.
I think motivation's got a lot to do with this game. It's the team that's going to want to actually win. But yeah, the way the odds are, I think they're as I said before, that it's related to last game when Melbourne just rolled over, whereas GWS did alright against Collingwood. I think head-to-head, Melbourne will actually win, or I think they're at least a 50-50 chance, and the odds at the moment are over $2 for the head-to-head, so I'm going to take Melbourne. Colin Garland's back in, Dean Turlick's back in. Hopefully they show something. So that's that. Hawks versus Richmond at the MCG, we discussed this one before, what do you think?
I'm taking Richmond with a 28.5 point head start. I think they've got a team that can trouble Hawthorn. In my opinion, they've got and maybe with Lake back in, it negates a bit. But it seems to me that they've struggled a little bit against Riewoldt in the past, and they've got a midfield. Richmond's got, I think, enough midfield depth to combat Hawthorn. They're not obviously not nowhere near as good a team, but I think with a 28.5 point head start, they're a good value.
Okay. Following on from what Michael was saying, last week's form. The Guru was saying last week's form. I just think Hawthorn are gonna give Richmond a touch up, and I'm going the opposite of you. I'm taking Hawthorn at the line.
John, this week we're either going to be much closer, or
yeah.
I'll be doing some strange bets next week.
I'm taking Hawthorn at the line as well.
Which line, extended or?
Just a standard regular line of 28.5, I think. Yeah.
So we've all taken. I've taken Richmond plus 28.5. You boys have taken Hawthorn minus 28.
Gone the opposite, yeah. And so any result in the middle of that, you win.
And if it's a draw,
I still win.
Still wins.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm liking my positive lines. So
all right. West Coast at home to the Suns. Can West Coast disappoint anymore?
I'm taking West Coast.
I'm taking West Coast head to head.
Oh, same here.
Yeah.
Jono, well done, mate.
I don't have any faith in what they could potentially do score-wise.
True, but I think the Gold Coast looked a little tired and jaded last week. I think they're running into a bit of a wall. I'm going West Coast.
Thank you for your bets. I'm also going West Coast head to head.
Yeah.
So that's one of those times where...
Scrap that one.
Well, the last one we all agreed was the Essendon 40
and we all lost.
Yeah. So
that's right.
I guess Gold Coast got this one in the bag.
Darren Glass is back in.
They got some... Embley's not a bad in for them, and Glass is not a bad in for them.
The Suns have Swallow in.
You're loving this name, this surname. Well done.
All right. It's not as exciting as with that Collingwood team.
It seems one swallow does indeed make a summer.
All right. Carlton versus the Dockers. Carlton, no change.
This is...
What do you reckon?
This is exactly the team that Ross Lyon teams feast on. I'm going Freo head to head.
I'm going the other way. I'm going Carlton 1-39.
I'm going Freo 1-39. So we're covering a lot of angles here.
Yeah. Well, they'll just lock down the midfield. I think
Carlton
Murphy will
midfield's
get
not
a turn.
firing as much as they used to. I think.
And they've got nobody in the forward line to really scare Freo, in my opinion.
But Freo, I don't know. They're just doing enough
That's what they do.
I know they're just doing enough. And I just
So shouldn't you be
they
going
haven't-
3-0 and 1-39?
No, they haven't travelled. They haven't travelled greatly this year.
They've done pretty well. They've only lost a couple of games. They even went to Sydney and got away with a draw. And
Yeah, should
they
have
haven't
won
done
that one
too
too.
badly.
By the way, a tip from the Guru: you should all rush in and get Scotland in Supercoach this week. This is a tip brought to you by Betting Guru. So just run right now to Supercoach
Okay, that's not
teams.
entirely true.
So this week could be a massive game changer in terms of the overall results.
I don't think we're going for really crazy odds though, so
I'd be
it
scared.
shouldn't be a huge difference. Brisbane Lions at home to St Kilda.
I think you're about
Pierce Hanley back in after 2 weeks after they told us it was going to be 4.
Mate, they always do this. They did this with Lauenberg. They did it with somebody else. Can't remember who. This is not. I'm not surprised. I think that they seem to overplay their injuries. I'm going. I think St Kilda's about to suffer a end of season smashing or two, starting with Brisbane, who need to win this week. I'm taking Brisbane with a 32.5 point head start.
Does Brisbane really have any chance of making the finals?
They need to pump. They need to win the last 4.
Okay.
I'm just taking Brisbane head to head.
I've got Brisbane at the line.
We've got different lines. I got minus. So you got the shorter line.
We'll have a look and just double check that.
Yeah.
We're going to get the best odds from all the bookies available.
Oh, and well done to Staker for playing his 150th game.
Brett Maloney's out again.
Yeah.
He's had an interesting season, but he's
But with Maloney out and Hanley coming back in, that means good.
Good, yeah.
Supercoach points.
Correct.
all right. Goods versus Goods. Western Bulldogs versus Sydney. Of course, both of them are out.
Both of them not playing each
That's
other.
got to be disappointing for them.
Matthew Boyd out as well, which is a big loss for the Bulldogs.
How much would the media have played that up though?
Oh, it
With,
would've
like
been
Goods
great.
and Goods were in, and they were
Imagine if
playing-
they had a bit of a
Goods
go at
in
each
the
other.
forward line
Yeah.
and his brother playing on him from a back pocket. That would have been great. But anyway,
Not to be.
not to be.
Ryan O'Keefe having another great year. He's
How
a
does
bit
he
of a
keep
gun.
doing this?
I don't know.
It's just, he's incredible. What is he, like 35 now? 32? 33? He just keeps on keeping on.
I don't know, but he looks a lot like that guy from Born Supremacy. Born.
What's his name? Bourne. I'm taking Sydney 40 plus. They're just unbelievable. How can you have that much midfield depth?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You can't run with them.
And that's what you need to win premierships, so I think they're right in it with a chance this year.
Yeah.
I've got Swans head to head.
I got Swans 40 plus.
Yeah, that's a conservative bet for me. That's alright. Okay,
Chipping away.
Port versus Adelaide. It's actually Adelaide's home game, but it doesn't really matter. It's the derby.
I'm not liking Adelaide's outs.
Yeah, there's a lot of people
Sloan
going in
is going out with an eye, which I've never seen before. And Richie Tambling has been omitted, which disappoints me greatly. But they get Dangerfield back in, and I think Carriage is a good player, and Rutten's a good player. And I'd say the one thing that Adelaide's got I think they would love to end Port season. Not end Port season, but terribly affect them. So I'm going Adelaide head to head.
Adelaide's got a couple of young players playing their 50th, Brody Smith and Daniel Talia, both pretty good pickups.
Talia's a very good player.
Joe?
I'm going the other way, just for a change here, Bob. I'm going Port head to head.
Oh, wait, I'm so going to catch up to you this week. It's going to be glorious.
Just by the way, a little-known player called Patrick Dangerfield is back in. But I'm going Port minus 6.5. So Port at the line. Hopefully that'll be another really good game. Collingwood versus Essendon at the MCG, not shown on TV, as we said, at the MCG in the afternoon. Quinton Lynch and Luke Ball back in.
And Seedsman's a good player.
And Joe Danaher has been taken out for Essendon again. Dropped twice already.
Didn't show a lot last week.
Yeah, but I think they're just trying to get a few games into him for the season. I really don't think they care too much.
Another big in is Jab Watson.
Oh, I can't believe. Can you imagine what the Ferals will do to Jab during this game? Like, I don't even.
Please, like half of Collingwood isn't taking something.
If I found out they doped and stole my 2010 premiership, I would be very, very, very angry on that podcast. We want angry ass podcast. I'm taking Collingwood head to head. I don't know why, because they just
Dustin
they
Fletcher's
don't look
also
good
in for
anymore.
his 600th game.
Yeah. Oh, I wish seriously. I hope he plays. How old? He'd be close to 40.
He's 38?
I hope he plays into his 40s. Like Tuck played into his 40s, right?
41, yeah.
Yeah, I hope he plays into his 40s.
Yeah, it's one of the. I like him.
Yeah, I like him as well.
Yeah.
He can play on the small guys and the big guys. It's just
People
very
say he's
impressive.
dirty, but
I like
he's just a
dirty
bit
players.
ungainly.
Yeah, I don't mind him.
Right.
By the way, can I just speaking of dirty players, he's not really dirty. But how did Hodge not get suspended?
Because of the point system. This is another reason.
You get points for being Hodge.
No. Because of the way they grade these with the point system now, it's either head or not head, right? As
Head
far
is
as correct. But it's either
Head
head
leads
or
to
not head,
swallow.
and he got him in the leg. It was low impact.
It's just,
And it was reckless act, so the points didn't add up. Whereas if it was a tribunal system, they go, well, that was a really dangerous act. Here's 2 weeks.
Well, that's nice, but what did you tip?
Collingwood at the line, minus 4.5.
God, that's what I have.
I really hope I have a massive comeback this week.
It's ridiculous. There's only like 4 games
Collingwood
where I
get
could
over
possibly
the line.
catch up.
No, Collingwood get over the line by a point. You'd be really happy.
Oh, I need North to get there. It's gonna be. I can just see. I'm losing most of these. It's brutal already.
All right.
Well, luck hasn't been on your side. We got to say. I mean, that Essendon West Coast game.
I hate you both. I hate you both greatly.
All right, boys. Thank you very much for coming, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.